All right, what is up, everybody? Happy Friday! Welcome to Kiss Meets the Podcast 4K. Crazy, crazy Kiss Countdown. You wanted the best. I am one of your hosts who is very stressed out immediately after doing this week's polls. Eli Clausen,
Right? And I am Luke Neely.
my beautiful co-host as always.
Oh, yes.
Space Ace
I'm
Ron
in.
immediately. What's up, brother?
Yeah, you ain't wasting no time today, man.
So we apologize for ended up having 2 weeks away. Last week, my ass got kicked by the allergy season, so I apologize. That's why we ended up missing another week last week, but we're here, ready to go, and get some business taken care of. So this week's episode, of course, we are at Sonic Boom. So literally right at the end of the discography, one more to go, and then of course we have our special kind of a compilation album that we'll probably wait till next week and refresh you guys what that'll be about to look forward to. And we do already have some other plans in the works for once the discography is finished. Definitely, we got plenty of games that we can do again. We still want to retry our live commentary on some videos. We'll probably do it over on the Facebook side instead of here on YouTube once we do that. So again, when it gets to that time, we'll be sure to let you guys know and where to tune in and all that stuff. So I hope everyone's doing great. Man, I feel like a lot's happened, like just in the world since the last time we were on. Like, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel is here. This whole mess that's been going on. We're at the point of the master being taken off finally. Never thought we would see this day anytime soon.
Right.
Um, so here in Ohio, June 2nd is the official drop of the whole mandate, but they've already kind of started for all of us that are fully vaccinated. Most places you can still go without wearing them now, except certain situations, obviously like medical facilities or travel still. But I don't care. I mean, I'm so excited how everything's getting back to normal. We got concerts are back. All the local concert areas around here have announced concerts and announcing more concerts. And what makes me excited is it means the Kiss show in September is definitely a go as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully it'll be 100% capacity even in the arena, which I'm sure by September there's no reason it shouldn't be. So just very cool. Lot to look forward to. Live music, even here on the local scene. I know people are just dying to hear live music and get out again. So what are you thinking? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited things are getting back to normal. I hope that it all goes well because I would imagine it's going to be a transition getting
Mm.
back into that. And there's been concern as far as our immune systems. How was the mask wearing affecting that? I know I've spent a lot of this last week not feeling super great, and I don't know if that correlates at all to not having had to wear my mask outside much. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't cause any big stir. But yeah, I'm ready for concerts to come back. That just before we started the podcast today, we were talking about some stuff locally that we want to go see this year,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
And of course, also Kiss related that I just remembered the big announcement. Alice Cooper with Ace Frehley opening up is coming to our town as well. So excited for that. That's going to be, I believe it's taking place after the Kiss concert is the date. Because Kiss is September 2nd, I believe. The Alice Cooper show is like later in September. So that's going to be a cool month for Kiss and related stuff to see live. I was always hoping Ace would end up hitting the roads eventually because it just felt like that place is a perfect venue for him to play, and I feel the same for like Paul. Say if he takes Soul Station on the road or whatever, I think it would be a great venue for that as well. So yeah, excited for that. I've never seen Alice Cooper in person, and it's one of them where it's like, hey, I feel like I need to see him at least once. So yeah, excited for that announcement as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, who knows? All that mask wearing, maybe it did take a slight effect on some people's immune systems because now that we're getting fully exposed to that, the fresh air per se. Who knows? It could have something to do with it, but thankfully it's nothing too major that it's causing. Just a quick little adjustment, and everything's back to normal. So, all right. So enough of all that. So obviously we got a lot to catch up on. Since we've been gone the last couple of weeks, we got obviously the polls to update you on, and boy, did those polls get really tough even with this week's matchup. So it's going to be nuts. So what's up, David? He said he's going to see Ace and Alice on 9/27. Where's that at? Because that sounds really close to the date that they announced for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know, Dave. So yeah, we'll get into these polls and all the other updates here.
All right, let's get into some comments real quick. I almost said last week's episode. Last episode, we got comments from Robbie Stars. So as far as the episode itself, which was our review for Alive 4, Robbie says, I love Kiss Alive 4. Even though Tommy is a part of this, it's still an amazing listen and a great experience watching this. Other than Alive 2, this is my favorite live Kiss album. I rated a 9. I love the fact they do Shandy and Peter is drumming this pretty well, even though he never played this before. Black Diamond is amazing here, and so is just about everything else. Great episode.
Nice.
Yes.
David says Youngstown. Very cool. Yeah, because I just looked, and ours is actually the next day, the 28th, here in Huber Heights, basically Dayton.
Right.
So very cool, man. I didn't know you was a fellow Ohioan, man.
Yeah. Very, very close. Let's see. We got another comment from Robbie. Robbie says, I agree with Luke. Great Expectations is an amazing surprise on this. I always rate Destroyer lower than what I should, but it is an amazing album, and I have always liked this song. I just always hated the fact that Wagner played on Sweet Pain solo, a few note overdubs on the Flaming Youth solo, acoustic guitar on Beth, and Great Expectations and singing harmonies on Sweet Pain, so he's really all over the album. But Destroyer is still possibly their best album, just not near my favorite. But it's really cool hearing Great Expectations on this live album.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I totally love that they did that.
Yes. Robbie also gave us a true confession for Alive 4. He says, I ignored Alive 4 when it was released, knowing the fact that Ace was missing, really pissing me off at the time, but I let it go many years later and I enjoy it now. I feel Tricky Dicky Wagner should have shown up and played acoustic on Beth and Great Expectations since he was all over Destroyer and maybe worn ghost makeup because that's what he was known for in the studio. That's pretty funny. That's good.
Well, maybe he was there and he was in such a good costume we didn't see him because he was a ghost.
See, it comes together. Yes. Lastly, Robbie also gave us his rankings for Sonic Boom, the episode we're doing today. So I've got those put in there. We'll talk about those later. He also notes, I'm a sucker for the 70s throwback sound, and Gene delivers on this album. I like this album quite a bit, and I enjoy the nostalgic feeling of the album, and even the Singer and Thayer songs sound like classic Kiss. The only thing I dislike is a few times the drums are buried in the mix, but I love the drum mix on most of the songs, and it's the only thing that is negative about the album. All of Gene's songs sound like the 74 to 77 era of the band, and I really enjoyed this when Sonic Boom was released. Paul's songs sound very 80s Kiss, but still cool. I rate this an 8.
Nice.
Yes. Glad to see some love for Sonic Boom there.
We just lost you again. There you
are. Oh, the audio jump in and out?
Yeah.
There it is. All right, so the polls then. So it's been a little while. We might as well go through the entire PSA again here. Of course, you guys, your regular viewers, you know what this is all about. But if you're brand new, consider checking us out on Facebook. You can search Kiss Meets the Podcast on Facebook. We've got a page. You can follow now. I guess it's follow instead of like. Whichever. We'd really appreciate support in any way there. We also on Facebook have a private group. It's just called Kiss Meets the Podcast group. You can search that. You do have to request access to join, but we approve everybody, so don't worry about that. Go ahead and request access. In this group, we post huge tournaments, putting Kiss songs head to head and seeing what comes out on top. A few weeks ago, actually probably a few months ago now, we've just completed a huge tournament of all the studio songs. Creatures of the Night won, if you'd believe that. The studio version of Creatures of the Night beat out every single other Kiss song. And right now we are doing one for all of the official live releases. We've just started round 3. Things are getting really hot, as you're about to hear. These mashups suck, the ones that we put up this week. It was so hard to choose. And you're not too late. Don't worry about jumping in the middle. We want as many votes as possible. So definitely get in that group. Let us know which songs you like. And don't worry. When this one ends, we've already got the next thing in the works to get into that. So let's talk about some results. A couple of weeks ago, we wrapped up round 2 of the live tournament. So it's getting shorter. The live songs, there weren't as many as the studio songs anyway, so this tournament's going quite fast. So the last 6 matches of round 2, we had Domino from MTV Unplugged versus Lick It Up from Alive 3. This one was really close. Domino took it with 57%. We had I Was Made for Lovin' You from Alive 3 versus Deuce from Alive. Naturally, Deuce took that with 76%. We had See You Tonight from MTV Unplugged versus Christine 16 from Alive 2. See You Tonight takes that with 59%. We had A World Without Heroes from Unplugged versus Sure Know Something from Unplugged. Another really close one here. Sure Know Something takes that with 55% of the vote. We had Calling Dr. Love from Alive 4 versus Let Me Go Rock and Roll from Alive. Let Me Go Rock and Roll takes it with 71%. And then finally we had Nothing to Lose from MTV Unplugged versus Cold Gin from Alive, which was a second chance vote back in. And apparently for good reason. Cold Gin takes it with 59% of the vote.
Wow.
Yes, so that wrapped up round 2, and this ended with an even number. So we did not have a second chance round moving into round 3. We do have a little bit of results to talk about in round 3 already, since we took a couple of weeks off. So the first 6 matches of round 3 were Watching You from Alive versus Tomorrow and Tonight from Alive 2. Watching You took that with 70% of the vote. We had Strutter from Alive versus Ladies' Room from Alive 2. Strutter took that with 59%. Yeah, very close. This is the one I can't believe. This is insane. Love Gun from Alive 2 versus Rock and Roll All Night from Alive. Love Gun takes it with 71%.
Wow.
Not even close with Rock and Roll All Night from Alive.
I figured in this scenario, Rock and Roll All Night would have definitely been, almost in the finals. Better than what the studio version performed.
Yes. I wouldn't have been surprised to see that one win the whole thing, and it would have been fairly appropriate. But to be taken out, and I mean, Love Gun from Alive 2 is a good one, but I still didn't expect the vote to be that skewed.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah. We also had King of the Nighttime World from Alive 4 versus Parasite from Alive. Parasite takes that with 76%. Another pretty surprising one here, God of Thunder from Alive 2 versus Rock and Roll All Night from MTV Unplugged. Again, God of Thunder takes it with 91%.
Jeez.
Rock and Roll All Night just getting destroyed. And I think that was the last instance of Rock and Roll All Night in this tournament.
Wow.
So, holy crap.
Once again, you guys surprise us, man. I'd like we were just saying in this case, but it's gone.
Yeah, insane. And then finally for results, we had Deuce from Alive 3 versus Heaven's on Fire from Alive 3. Deuce takes this one with 55%, so another pretty close one.
I like that.
Yes. So right now, you can jump over to Facebook in Kiss Meets the Podcast group and vote on the following 6 matches. They were just posted earlier today, and they are up for vote, so get your votes in. You can vote for Going Blind from MTV Unplugged versus I Want You from Alive 2. Hard Luck Woman from Alive 2 versus Firehouse from Alive. Get ready and prepare your ball sacks here. Black Diamond from Alive versus She from Alive.
Mm.
If that wasn't enough of a kick, I Stole Your Love from Alive 2 versus 100,000 Years from Alive.
Mm.
Sure Know Something from Alive 4 versus Beth from MTV Unplugged. And finally, just to absolutely smash whatever genitals you have up in there, Shock Me from Alive 2 versus Creatures of the Night from Alive 3.
Oh, that should be a final.
Yeah. Oh, this has gone so crazy. And guys, definitely jump in there and get this. Next week, we are only going to have 3 matches posted, and that's already going to take care of round 3. And we are going to have a second chance round following that. But, guys, these last couple of rounds are going to go really quickly. So definitely jump in there and let us know what's your favorite live Kiss song.
I was going to say, I hope to God that we have a second chance option for this one. But even still, I can already tell the songs that are going to be in that. That's going to be tough based on what happens, especially with these matchups here.
Yeah, definitely got a lot of close calls that are adding new stuff to those what could be in a second chance. And this this coming up second chance is going to be the final second chance vote for this tournament too.
Yeah. So get in there if you guys are unhappy that one of your songs got knocked out. Now's your chance to try to get it back in there and then keep it alive and keep pushing it. So tell all your friends, family, anybody that's Kiss fans, get on our page and vote, please.
Yes. Okay. All right. That wraps me up.
All right. So I guess it's time for Sonic Beam.
Boom.
Boom, boom.
I'm hoping Steve will jump in here with him and Rochelle's votes.
Yeah.
All right, so album info then, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so Sonic Boom is the 19th studio album and also the first in 11 years released by Kiss. This album was released October 6th, 2009 as a Walmart exclusive. Fun fact, this is the only Kiss album that does not appear on streaming services because it remains to this day a Walmart exclusive.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah. This was recorded, interestingly, in August of 2007 and then May through August of 2009.
Wow.
So I wonder what happened in August of 2007, unless Wikipedia has that wrong. This was recorded in Conway Recording Studios in Hollywood, Henson Recording in Hollywood, and also The Nook in Studio City, wherever that is. This was produced by Paul Stanley with a little help from Greg Collins. This is, of course, the first Kiss album to feature Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer together in the current lineup. Let's see. 3 singles from this album: Modern Day Delilah, Say Yeah, and Never Enough. We got personnel here: Paul Stanley, vocals, rhythm guitar; Gene Simmons, vocals and bass; Tommy Thayer, lead guitar and vocals; Eric Singer, drums and vocals. Notice how there are no studio musicians listed in there.
Yeah, that is one good thing that, it's in a sense back to the roots as far as just the 4 core guys. And so weird that Never Enough was a single. It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
yeah, of all of the ones, and not a Gene song,
Yeah.
Very strange. Why not I'm an Animal? This did get up to number 2 in the U.S. Billboard 200, which is pretty high. This album, however, has not been certified anything at all.
Wow. No.
I know. It's very strange. So that's pretty much all the... I guess another interesting point here is that the cover was done by Michael DeRay, the same guy who did Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah, I definitely like that kind of throwback. You can definitely tell a bit of a similarity, and at the same time, like, it always kind of, to me, like, has a slight Hotter Than Hell feel to it as well. I mean, that's just my eyes looking at it, but
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. This is also just as a fun fact for me personally. This is the first Kiss album other than like Alive 4 that I specifically remember when it came out. I remember going and buying it. Yeah, I was finally old enough at this point that
Yeah.
a new Kiss album came out and I went and bought it.
And then, of course, Ace's album Anomaly, which was like his first album in years too, was released, very close to this album as well.
Right.
Um, we'll forget about the bonus disc that came with it. But they did include a bonus DVD, which was kind of cool. It had it wasn't a full concert if I remember right. I think
Yeah.
it just had like 4 songs or something. I believe it was from Buenos Aires or
Yeah.
something like that. But very cool packaging. They kind of went back again, like as far as the vinyl side. It came with a nice full size color poster of the band. We hadn't gotten a poster since. Well, I know there was one in Unplugged, but as far as like one of the actual band, like I'm thinking like Unmasked. Like that's the
Right.
last time we got a nice big color photo of the poster of the band. Plus, it was a gatefold and nice and so they definitely went out, and there was numerous color variations of the vinyl, and apparently, as weird as it might sound, the black one is kind of the more rare one. When that's normally obviously the basic color for most records. Um, so apparently that one's a little harder to find than all the other colored versions. So. And of
Interesting.
course, it's been bootlegged and counterfeited left and right. This version's a counterfeit. I'm not gonna lie. It's not even a gatefold. They didn't even include the poster or anything. It's just in a basic sleeve, but it is on the blue vinyl, so that's one little plus about it.
Nice.
But I used to have a real version, and it was signed by the whole band. I bought it at one of the expos, and I ended up getting rid of it a few years ago. Just needed the money, and kind of regret it, but I kind of don't. So that's why I got this version. I'm like, I don't care if it's real or not, as long as I have a version on vinyl. That's fine with me, as long as I can listen to it. And
Absolutely.
so yeah. Ronnie Parker, thank you. He reminded us that today is actually the 1 year anniversary of Bob Kulick's passing already. Can't believe that's been a year. I still remember when we were talking about it pretty much the day it happened, or right around that time on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, rest in peace, Bob. I did notice that Bruce posted a nice tribute video on his YouTube channel. I'm definitely gonna make a point to watch that, and I believe he calls it "Forever Larger Than Life."
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool. So rest in peace, Bob. We all miss you. He was a great person to meet. Love seeing him at those expos all the time. So rest in peace to Bob. We got Carolina in the house. Thought we were missing in action. Glad to see y'all. Yeah, sorry, man. We only expected to be gone 1 week, and then got hit by the allergy bug, and it just kicked my butt last week. So yeah, that's why we were gone another week. But we're back, man, and good to see you. So hopefully, old Chris over there at Kiss and Tell, if they pop in, but hopefully, we're still waiting on him to upload to some of their latest episodes. I've been dying to see some Kiss and Tell.
Yeah.
And so somebody give Chris a kick in the butt and tell him to get these shows uploaded.
Yes.
Excuse me. All right, so back on track now. We're ready to start with the album here, Sonic Boom. So, all right. So, of course, the opening track is Modern Day Delilah. This one's number 2 for me. Great track. I've already, I already kind of consider this as a Kiss classic now at this point. I mean, hell, we're, 12 years out from this album. I think that's enough time to kind of start calling it a classic. And, I kind of look at it in that same vein as Psycho Circus, but a great song. It's so catchy. It's fun to play. It was one of my favorite show openers when they did it on this tour with the riser that came up over Eric.
Yeah.
That was super cool. I wish they would have used that more often than just that tour. But that was one of my favorite show openers that they've ever done. There's that awesome video on YouTube from the backstage shot of them and seeing them going up over the riser as they started. Very cool. But as far as the song itself, yeah, like I say, catchy. Paul's voice still sounds pretty well. This was kind of like kind of at the point of where it was starting to get to that what we know today, and but it's still he still had a little bit there. But sounded good. The drum sounds good. Like I said, a very catchy pattern that Eric's doing. It's real fun to play along, and cool harmonies on the chorus and all that stuff. So yeah, just a great album opener, and it definitely starts off with a boom, no pun intended.
Yes. Yes. I always loved I saw them twice on this tour, and the fact that they changed their opening video to include footage from the music video from this song.
Yeah.
And I will never, for the rest of my life, forget every time the video would show them taking a step, the boom would smack you in the chest.
Wow.
I mean, it was amazing. I loved that.
See, I keep forgetting that they did that element, that they changed that up, and I wish they would have kept something like that for every tour, like change it up. And it's funny you say that, because I think I missed this tour. I think this was one of those tours that I actually missed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there was a few right around this era that I remember when they were coming to Cincinnati or Columbus. I ended up missing them for whatever reason. I hated it.
Yeah, it was weird because I hadn't seen them since the farewell tour, and I was young enough then that I barely remember it. So this was, in a way, it was kind of my first Kiss concert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw them in Cincinnati, and then the very next weekend again at the Indiana State Fair.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still kind of remember like the nights of those shows that were close and I had to miss. I'd just like thinking to myself, like, damn it, Kiss is playing right now and I can't be there.
Yes. Yes. The first time when I saw them in Cincinnati was Riverbend, and I brought a little scrap piece of paper, and every time they would start a song, I would pull the scrap piece of paper out and write down the song. And then, it was dark and we were in the nosebleed seats, and I get home and I'm all excited. I pull out my little set list. I can't read half the crap I scribbled.
And that was probably before we had that Setlist FM site too. If you think about it, I'm not sure how long it's been around, but
before I was aware of it, at least.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure that's what a lot of people used to do back in the day, especially the ones that were, recording the shows and stuff. They'd probably jot it down to keep track. So once they got it home and started circulating the show and everything.
Yes. Yeah, so Modern Day Delilah #2 for me as well. And just immediately, as soon as it starts, I love that this starts the album because it's so energetic. Just immediately you get that tom smack in the slide and they're into it. Perfect opener. I enjoy the production of this album for the most part. It's modern, but it's also a throwback to, like, say, Love Gun or Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
There was a clear, just let's go straightforward and dry. We're back to, again, you can hear Paul in the left speaker and Tommy in the right. Very nice. And yeah, I completely agree. This song is a classic. Now that it's got some time on it, there's no reason to consider it a new song. It's a Kiss classic.
Right.
The chorus is catchy. The verses are cool. The bridge is just enough of an unexpected turn to be kind of an interesting part. Tommy solo, perfect fit for the song. And again, it modernizes the spaceman style of guitar solo that he's so good at doing, and just off it goes. Great opening, and a great way to set up what you're going to get for the rest of this album.
All right, track number 2, Russian Roulette. So another thing kind of with the old style, we get a Paul and then now a Gene song. So this is number 4 for me. Yeah, I mean, a great follow-up to Delilah. I mean, just the way it starts is a cool intro, and I'm loving that bass tone when he kicks in, just the way you hear it. It just has that, you can practically hear the pick scraping on the string, it's just got that nice Gene growl to it, and I like this song. It's definitely catchy. Again, it's it's kind of more talking about the ladies again. One of those kind of Gene songs in a way, but I'm not sure what the whole Russian roulette thing is. If like you mess with the groupies, you're playing Russian roulette, catching an STD or something. Is that the message here? I don't
Maybe.
know. One pull of the trigger is all you're going to get. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, for being the first Gene song on the album, and this was like the first Gene song we heard since Psycho Circus. It was nice. It definitely it didn't let me down. It still doesn't, because you get honestly you get a little worried. I mean, hell, I remember being worried when Psycho Circus came out. Like, oh god, what's going? Is he still going to have that demon sound? And same thing obviously with this album being that it was so long down the road and different lineup and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I love this Gene song. I don't think it gets enough credit.
Absolutely. Personally, I think the message of that song is
But no.
yeah. This one comes in at number 8 for me, and honestly, it hurts my feelings putting it that low.
Mm.
Yeah, this is such a classic Gene bass line, and then the riff is perfect for the bass line. The verse lyrics are appropriately corny for a Gene song, but man, I cannot get over that chorus. I love this chorus. This is Russian roulette. It's so catchy.
Yeah.
I've never personally been one for sections of songs that are all or whoa stuff like that, but this one doesn't bother me, and I get the whole chorus stuck in my head completely randomly for no reason all the time.
I think that's part of it too. Is it was something so different with that line, because it's like they were starting to try new things, and that was cool to hear too. And obviously they extend on that in the next album. Once we get to that, there's a song that they really went out of the box for. So
Yeah.
So next up is Never Enough, which was one of the singles, of course. So this is number 3, and so here we go again. This is the big surprise this time for me. This is the song that's now growing on me after listening again. Before, again, like Delilah, Russian Roulette, and then like maybe 2 other songs on the album was probably the only ones I would pay attention to. Everything else would kind of just but I don't know, man. This time it just really caught me. Catchy as hell chorus, of course. Great solo on here from Tommy. Definitely kind of had an Ace feel to it, per se. But a really good Paul song. Like I kept wanting to like hear myself say like, "Oh, this sounds like it could have been on Paul's '78 solo album," but then at the same time, I'm like, "Nah, I don't think so." It's kind of got its own standalone power, I feel. And now I do see why it was a single, because it was a good catchy Paul song, and unfortunately it didn't get enough attention. And hell, for that matter, I can't even remember if they did perform this song live. I'm not sure if they did or not, but
Yeah,
I wish they would have. The only thing that if I had to nitpick something, that intro melody, and kind of continues throughout the song. It kind of reminds me of "Raise Your Hands" by Bon Jovi. That never enough, out on the run, that whole melody to it kind of reminds me of that. But
yeah,
I'm not saying that to to down on the song or anything. It's just what it reminded me of. And like I said, so this is the big surprise for me this time. This song has now grown on me a lot, and I'm definitely going to start listening to it more often when I put on stuff from this album.
yeah, absolutely. This one's number 9 for me. This is the first of 3 songs on this album that give me just a tad bit of Shout It Out Loud vibe. This one, definitely not as good a song as Shout It Out Loud, but still very, very solid song. I also noted that I liked the solo. And then also how the solo goes back into the chorus. It's unexpected, complicated, and a bit twisty for Kiss. because it sounds like they're going to do the chorus motif again, the da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, but then they only do it like once or half a time and jump right back to the chorus. And I loved that. I tripped a bit and I was like, oh yeah, cool. Kiss doing something on it like weird like that. Awesome.
Yes. All right. Next is Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. Number 11. Excuse me, dead last. So here we are, another Gene song, but this time it's my least favorite on the album. And I'll be honest, like this is the kind of Gene song that I was afraid we were gonna get first, which thankfully that didn't happen. Um, I think another thing is just the title irks me. It's like, why do we need the "Nobody's Perfect" in parentheses? Just call it "Yes, I Know" if you're going to, or just call it "Nobody's Perfect." Like, just the title itself just kind of irks me. I don't know why. But yeah, this was one of them songs that I just kind of glazed over on the playback. You know, I kind of lost that attention span. Um, yeah, just like I said, thank God it at least wasn't the first Gene song on the album that we heard, or that would have been a little bit of a bum. But for what it is, hey, I guess, call it a throwaway track in my opinion. But yeah, it just comes in dead last for me on this listen.
Yep, totally agreed. 11 for me as well on this one. For me, it's the melody of the vocals that I
Mm.
dislike about this song, and it's not like I never want to hear this again bad. But the song itself is pretty kissish. It sounds like something that they would have, like something that should have been on this album, like the '70s stuff but modernized.
Yeah.
But the way Gene sings it kind of bothers me. I don't like the chorus. I don't like the "Come on, baby, take off your clothes" thing.
Oh
Like
God, yeah.
it's it's cringy. So yeah, the vocals just don't hit me right on this one.
Yeah, some of the lyrics, it was kind of like, almost like, okay, this is almost similar to "Are You Ready?" That song that's on this box, the vault.
Yeah,
It's like some of those lines were like very similar, and I'm like, okay, Gene. Now, and then you were talking about the message of the song. It's like, oh, I know nobody's perfect, but then at the same time, he's kind of like saying, "But I am," It's like
yeah,
a real tongue in cheek kind of thing, and it's like, okay, I get it, it's Gene, so it makes you kind of giggle a little bit, like, oh, it's Gene. He's saying nobody's perfect, but he is, but so it's one of them type deals. But
yeah,
there's way better other Gene songs out there for me that have that same sort of message, if you want to call it
yeah.
that.
If we had to have the typical Gene trope, I would have rather had the "I live however I want to,"
Exactly.
which strangely Eric does instead of Gene this time.
Yeah, like "It's My Life," which again should have been on Psycho Circus, or hell, they could have even re-recorded it again and put it on this album.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Nice.
all right, so we're coming into the last song on side one, which is "Stand." Number 5 here. Again, I love this track as well. It's definitely very kind of ballady. To me, and probably to most people, it sounds like the perfect companion to "We Are One." Is what I always get the vibe. Again, it's kind of that whole like one for all for one. We're here for you type song. Blah blah blah. And, um, and again, like I get it, because there's times that Kiss music has helped in ways that they don't understand, and so in a way it's like, yes, they are there for you at when certain times are bad. So yeah, I think it just comes down to how you perceive the song, how it translates to you is kind of your own meaning, and that's why it's always stuck with me. It stood by my side, per se, since the first time I heard it. So it's just always one of those that I definitely go to on the album, and it's always going to be in that top 5.
Nice. I need to look up now. Now that we were talking about that Setlist FM, I need to see what they did at that show.
Yeah, because I feel like they never performed Never Enough.
Right. I feel like, specific to this song, Stand, I feel like they did this one at that show.
If they did, that's rare too, because I don't recall them really performing this either.
I might be remembering that wrong.
But you know how they are, like, especially on those early shows of the tour for the album, they would pull a song or so out here and then drop it the next night, or
right.
Kind of experimenting.
Of course, it's not coming up for some reason. Oh, I guess that probably was 2010, wasn't it? Not 2009. That's better, maybe. Yes. Let me see if I am remembering that wrong. Yes, I am remembering that wrong. Okay. They did I'm an Animal, though. I don't remember that. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Lost your audio.
Hello? Does it work now?
Yes, it does work.
Every time. See? Stand, I got at number 10. This is another one that has Shouted Out Loud vibes. Definitely more vibes than Never Enough with the trade-off vocals and the anthem chorus. The only reason that this one is low, because I do really like this song, especially the pre-chorus. That unexpected chord progression is great. The chorus gets a little old for me, personally, by the end of the song. And this is why I wanted to look to see if they played it live, because I feel like I've seen them do this, and they just did that chorus over and over and over. Like they stopped playing and they were having the audience sing it. Because I have this memory of just being like, oh my God, stop. But apparently I must have just imagined that. Unless maybe they did it at Indiana, but I don't know. I mean, it was literally a week apart. So anyway, yeah. And then the other thing that stands out to me about this song that's really cool is those bridge vocals when the song kind of comes down and all those harmonies are going off, and that was definitely cool.
So I was just checking the statistics on the set list, and according to that, they've only played 4 songs from Sonic Boom live.
Wow.
Say Yeah, Modern Day Delilah, I'm an Animal, and then Hot and Cold they've only played twice, which was on a cruise.
Interesting.
And of course, Say Yeah being the one they've performed the most now, since they have still been doing it on the more recent tour.
Right.
But yeah, crazy. Only 4 tracks. Really 3, because that one they only performed on the cruise, twice.
Yeah. Hardly counts.
Okay, where are we at here? All right, so we move into Hot and Cold. Another Gene track here. This is number 8. Speaking of Hot and Cold, we were just talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, so number 8 for me. This is another Gene song that I don't think is too horrible. I know the chorus can be a bit, repetitive, and it may sound a bit cheesy or whatever, but I don't know. There's something about it that I think is a bit catchy at the same time, and I feel like it's kind of a companion to Russian Roulette as far as that catchiness vibe goes, but definitely not the same message in the songs. But so apparently, if they performed it on the cruise at least twice, then they must have felt like, hey, the fans might want to hear this one, so let's give it a shot. I'm sure it went over pretty well. I'm sure there's video on YouTube. Yeah, just catchy song. It's got that vibe. I would have rather this song come before Nobody's Perfect, and if we had that choice, but
right. Yeah, this was the surprise on the album for me this time around. I got it at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we did this album, it was dead last.
Wow.
which I did not remember. I was surprised when I scrolled over to see what I ranked last time and saw that it was number 11. This time around, this was one of my favorite Gene songs on the album.
Hmm.
It's nice to hear slightly more upbeat one at this point on the album. You know, we're getting towards the end already. So jumping up from Stand into an upbeat one. The chorus, super catchy. You know, the lyrics are, as usual, a little weird. It's a Gene song. Why they thought if you're too loud or if it's too loud, you're too old. I don't know. It's not horrible, but it's weird. But super easy to overlook because of the catchiness. So this song, I was jamming this song the whole time it was playing this time.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, I like that because that line, it's kind of a throwback to Shout It Out Loud in a way. Just saying it a little differently. So I kind of like that about that. The too loud or too old.
Yeah.
All right. So next is All for the Glory. So we have the Eric Singer track here. Number 10 for me. It's not a bad song. I don't dislike it or anything. It just kind of fell short to all the other stuff for me. Eric's always had a great singing voice. He sounds good on this album. I was noticing on this listen that I think I was paying more attention from what I remember last time because I was catching some higher notes that he was actually doing, which is something you really don't ever hear Eric do. Is the higher register stuff, but he was definitely hitting a few at times on this song, so I definitely give him credit for that. And just a pretty good. It does kind of have that '70s straight rocker kind of sound to it, and I think it would have been a cool song to either perform live or hell they could have even played this song like over the PA before the show starts, and just kind of get people warmed up a little bit or something. But yeah, not a bad track for Eric, so I give him a lot of props. I don't know. See, I don't know. We'll get to that next week as far as the song on Monster, which one I like. 'Cause I'm not sure if I like one or the other more or about the same, but we'll find out next week, I guess. Once I listen
Right.
to that one again too. So
Yeah, I've definitely only heard the one on Monster a couple of times. 'Cause instinctually, I would say I like this one better, but I definitely, yeah, next week I want to hear the other one again. I
right.
always thought it was dumb that the titles are so similar. I
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
This one I've got at number 6, another upbeat song. So cool, and so glad to hear Eric Singer getting a lead vocal on the album. I'm so glad they decided to do another. All four of us are going to have lead vocals here. And I like how he sings this one. The vocal melodies are cool. The riff is very Kiss-like without being a ripoff of any of their other songs. This isn't them using the tipper trick that they always use. Totally different riff, but still in that vein. One tiny little nitpick here. I do wish that Tommy had done a couple of different things on the guitar solo. A lot of the solos on this album have some ace licks in it, which are fine. Most of the time they work, and it even gives you that cool nostalgia for the early stuff. This particular one had the dark light thing in it. I don't feel like Tommy really got it very well on this, or at least it didn't fit on the song. It felt forced. So just that piece, the rest of the solo's fine. Just that piece, I heard. I'm like, or you could have done your own thing,
Yeah, totally agree. And that's what I love too is Eric gets a song, and thank God they weren't trying to force him to do like the quote unquote Catman thing and make him do like a ballad or something, and,
right.
And it's like, no, he got to do what to me is like the perfect example of Eric Singer. It's straightforward rock. That's what he is. He's that kind of guy, just a good straight up rock and roll drummer. Hell, he comes from the city of rock and roll that houses the Hall of Fame. I mean, so it's like, perfect. And I'm so glad that on both albums, for that matter, they didn't try to make him do a ballad or anything.
Right.
Yes, he does one live, but that's his choice. He always wanted to. It wasn't like he was forced to. But at least on the album, we didn't have to get anything like that. We got another good rock song from the Kiss drummer, which we hadn't had since freaking, I don't know, Dirty Living, if you want to say that's a
Right.
rocker.
Right. And this isn't, I don't feel like this could have been a Peter song either, which is nice because it's not like, say, like Mainline or something where it's more along the lines of Peter's influences of the jazz and the R&B type thing.
Yeah.
This is straight up Eric Singer.
Or let me correct myself. Little Caesar was probably the last like good rocking song from a drummer that was singing on an album.
Right. Oh, there's Stephen Rochelle there.
I see that. Cool. All right. Pardon. All right. Where are we at? So next up we have Dangerous, number 9 for me. Again, just the title annoys me for some reason. I don't know why I get so picky at the titles, but I don't know. To me, this is kind of the Paul version of Nobody's Perfect. It's just kind of like it gets a little repetitive. The stuff he's saying is like I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, this is the song where he keeps repeating the stuff about TNT.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, well they literally rip off that same line in Monster. On the next album, they use that same line in Tommy's song. You and me, we're like TNT.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? So now we're wearing that line out here, and then they turn around and use it again on the following album on a Tommy song. So that's another reason that annoyed me when I heard this. And I know what I should be a little more fair because it's the next album, but still, it's that whole thing, and it was just too repetitive anyway. As much as Paul kept talking about TNT, and it's like they just thought that was such a brilliant line that they had to say it that many times. And guess what? We're going to use it again in the next album because that was just the greatest line I have come up with in 20 years.
Oh no, Stephen Rochelle's votes made a tie.
I guess it's been a while since we've had that.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably have another. I'm sure we'll have another jump in there.
I think didn't somebody? Well, David Smith gave us his top 3. If Dave, if you're still here, if you can go ahead and give us the rest of your rankings, we'll get that in.
Yeah. Was Never Enough in his top 3?
Yes.
There you go.
Dangerous, Modern Day Delilah, and Never Enough are his top 3.
Gotcha. Well, if we don't get another one, we'll utilize that to break the tie.
Scott, if you're still here, give us your rankings too, man.
Yes.
Space Ace Ron.
All right. Let's see. So I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to you. Dangerous is my number 1. Yeah, I don't think it. I think I talked this one all up last time we did this too. This is just one of my favorite songs on the album. I love the riff. I love the energy behind the song. This is far more upbeat than the other ones. I love Paul's delivery on an album where his vocals can be, the tour for this album is definitely where we started going. Fans around the world were going, something wrong with Paul. So the delivery on this really always gets me. The melodies are cool. The chorus is catchy. I don't mind the way the title is worked into the song. I will 100% admit it's super corny, but I think it could be worse. It doesn't specifically bother me, but yeah, the main thing is the riff. As soon as the riff comes in, I'm always pumped. Like I feel like this is another one that could have started an album just based on the energy of the riff in the song.
Cool enough. Scott, if you have to jump over on our Facebook group and then put it in the comments on that if you don't mind.
We'll get it in one way or the other.
That's right. All right. So next up is I'm an Animal. This is my number 1. This is Gene to the fullest. God, I love this song. I say next to within from Psycho Circus, this is the best Gene has sounded um, on any of the songs that we've heard. On the remaining of Psycho Circus and up to this point on Sonic Boom. Um, and yes, one of the main reasons that I fell in love with this song was I ran across a live video on YouTube of them doing this, and I believe it was like that Rock Am Ring show or something like. Because it was one of them real big, stages and shows, and that crowd. Oh, and man, I tell you, just the way it sounds on that live version, it just sounds heavier, and the way Gene sings it, I like. He sounds a little more, you know, gravelly than what he does on the album, and man, it just totally like right then and there, I became a fan of that song more, and I'm like, oh, and then listening to it today, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely number one now, because I'm sure last time it was Modern Day Delilah. I'm sure a lot of people are going to pick Modern Day Delilah for the most part, but this time it was definitely I'm an Animal. It's God, just I just love the way the vocals flow all over the music, and then the whole the chorus thing, the no rules, and then you get kind of an answer thing in the back, and it's just got that heaviness, man. I love it. I love it. So look up that video on YouTube if you guys haven't seen it. It is killer.
Yes. Yes, this one comes in number 5 for me. Without a doubt, the demon song of this album. I mean, just without contest for any of the other ones. And for that, this one is the other of my favorite Gene songs on this album. This time, Hot and Cold overtook it, but Hot and Cold is definitely not a demon song.
No.
This one, absolutely. This captures the feel of earlier Gene songs better than any of the other Gene songs on this album, or Monster, I think, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. 100%, yeah.
Yes. I miss the growl in the vocals, though, like what you were talking about. That live video, just the way that he sings it, probably because of the live and everything, is so much better. And it's good on the album. It's certainly not. It doesn't make me think ugh. But
right.
If they had written this one in the early days, say like Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, I feel like this is the one he would have sang his freaking throat out. Like he would have had to go. You would have had to go take a Ricola or something afterwards.
Oh, yeah. that would have been great. I'll do this in a minute. Okay. Wow, 2 tracks left already. So next up we have Tommy's song, When Lightning Strikes. This one's number 7. So yeah, we got our first Tommy Thayer song on a Kiss album. Pretty good. I gotta say, just to jump ahead to next week, I do prefer the song on Monster better than this one, but this one isn't bad. Although, again, there's another thing that it reminds me of. The riff sounds like Never Been Any Reason by Head East. That kind of very similar there. Do the comparisons, if you will. But Tommy also has a good voice. Sounds good on these songs, and of course the playing. He keeps it true to that Kiss sound, and just like I say, it's not bad, but just knowing what's coming on Monster, it definitely doesn't live up to that, in my opinion.
This one comes in number 3 for me. Man, I really like this song. I'll say, though, going the other direction for a second, the obvious reference to Shock Me is stupid. Why they thought electricity? Now, see, the one on Monster has to do with space. That makes sense. He's the spaceman. But why electricity? I don't know. Having said that, though, this is still a really catchy song. I really love the song. Tommy does a great job on the lead vocals. I love the placement of the song on the album too. Having it right near the end, and it's upbeat and it's catchy and driving, and an unexpected surprise if you didn't know that you were going to get lead vocals from all 4 guys. I don't think I knew that going in. I seem to recall this one starting and me thinking, who's this?
Yeah. I
And
was
yeah,
probably
it's so cool.
the same way. I was probably expecting it was just gonna be a Gene and Paul album, and you know, thank God we were wrong.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, keeping the interest up this late in the CD, absolute genius right there. So yeah, top marks.
Absolutely. I just realized I don't have that I'm an Animal live video saved to my computer. I'm gonna have to download that.
Ooh,
Yeah, Scott and Dave, thank you, man. They're getting the rest of their votes in here. So while they're doing that,
awesome.
we'll wrap up the last track here, which of course is "Say Yeah." Comes in at number 6 for me. Um, I could see that. Excuse me. They were trying to, again, kind of make this the next. I don't know, anthem. Let's say,
Yeah,
and it's like they're still like it's like they refuse for this song to not be an anthem because they still push it on you to this day, doing it in this current tour, and
yeah,
they make no bones about trying to get everybody to sing along before the song even starts with the yeah 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 thing, and you gotta immediately think that that is kind of a nod to their love for the Beatles, the whole yeah yeah yeah, and that's what I took it as. But yeah, it's cool. It is a good song. Like there was a point where probably the last time we did this album, I don't know, but I might have ranked it lower because I don't know, for a point in time it kind of annoyed me is because again it felt a little repetitive. But I tell you but listening to the song itself, I like the music part of it. I like the vocal, like when the vocals are going and what the drums are doing. That's different. It does have a cool vibe to it, and it does. I guess it does come off better live than what it does on the album too. Um, it really did kind of surprise me to hear it when we saw them on that first leg of the tour a couple years ago now, and I was kind of surprised that they kept that in the set out of all things, and but sure enough. But yeah, not a bad album closer, I guess. It kind of feels like maybe there should be like one more song, I guess. I don't know, but to close the album on that, not horrible. But there are some differences in there too. Some things that they were trying, and yeah, pretty good way to take the album out with a Paul song. And you know, who knows down the road it might be more of an anthem once the band's done. But it's one of them songs that I think are slowly growing on the Kiss Army more and more as you hear it. I know it's kind of growing more on me every time I hear it, but uh, yeah, not a bad way to end the album.
absolutely. Yes, number 7 for me. This is the third of the three that give me shout it out loud vibes, and this one it's mostly just because like you said, they're just so clearly pushing for this to be the big sing along anthem.
Right.
Um, I get tired of seeing this one on the live set, honestly, but I really like this recording. I don't fault them for doing it live because obviously the yeah 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 thing was built for that. Why else would you have such a simple chorus?
Right.
Uh, but yeah, the verses, the pre-chorus, the chorus, they're all really catchy. Um, the clean and acoustic tone near to the end when everything drops down, again a little bit unexpected, and it's neat, especially when they go back into the heavy chorus. Paul screams, "Yeah!" and everything jumps back up, and that's a goosebump moment right there.
Yeah.
Uh, and I gotta tell you too, as far as it closing the album, I like it because thank Christ it doesn't fade out. It has an ending. It has an ending. Thank you,
that is
God.
100% true.
It has an ending.
Yeah, that's definitely a big point right there. So, yeah. So, looking at YouTube, it's Rock Am Ring 2010. So again, if you guys haven't seen that for I'm an Animal, look it up. I was hoping I already had it downloaded. I was going to play a little bit of it right now on here.
Yes.
All right. So did you get David and Scott's stuff in there?
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for that. We even got a true confession from Scott when we get there. Um, don't forget, you guys too in the chat, Dave and anybody else in the chat. If you got a true confession, let us have it. So anyway, the overall rankings. We'll get to this first, and then get into our true confessions. I gave it a 6 overall. I gotta say, this album in general is starting to grow on me more. I've always said throughout all these years that I pick Monster over this album. I feel like Monster is a more listenable album, I guess. But I gotta say, to be honest, I'm the first one to say that I think that opinion's starting to change finally. Now again, we have Monster coming up next week. I listen to it again. Who knows? I may turn around and say, nah, almost, but I don't know. I got a feeling that Sonic Boom's, because like I say, more and more of that stuff's starting to grow on me as I listen to it. I mean, Never Enough right there was a big statement. I wasn't expecting that to catch me the way it did this time and become such a big favorite. But yeah, again, the production was good on this album. I give Tommy credit because again, like you kind of touched on this earlier in the show, but yeah, I was catching that too. Like he was doing a lot of Ace kind of licks, like familiar type licks throughout the album here and there. Like there was, I forget the song, but there was a point where he was doing something that almost reminded me of the solo part in Love 'Em and Leave 'Em, and
Yeah.
things like that. And I give him credit because it's not like he's trying to be Ace. He's really just kind of giving that nod and kind of keeping that true feel to his part of the band, which is what he does and still does to this day. Um, and again with Eric, like we said, like Eric's really took the Catman persona in a different direction than what Peter had it at. Because again, we didn't have ballads on here. Not that Peter ballads are bad, but it's like give us that rock and roll song from the drummer, which we finally got from the Catman, which again wasn't since like Dirty Living. That it's been that long. Like we're literally talking 30 years right there. Um, so it fit Eric great, and yeah, and like I say, Gene and Paul delivered so well because, like we were saying earlier, I know I had a little bit of reservations going into the album back when it first came out, um, and it was like it was cool, but it's obviously one of those things where it definitely takes years and more listens to grow on you sometimes, and sometimes that's not a bad thing. I mean, obviously some albums you put on, you immediately get hooked and you're immediately in love with the album. Sometimes, and that's happened in a lot of cases, even just doing this Kiss stuff, certain songs or the album in whole, it'll just suddenly start catching you the more you listen to it. And, as the years go on, it's just funny how that is, but it's true. So a very solid 6. And, and, if I were to rank the packaging separately, I'd give the packaging a 10 because, like I said, as far as the vinyl side of things with the freaking poster and the beautiful glossy gatefold and everything else, and then even the CD with the DVD and everything else if it came to that side of things, if we were ranking, I would just have to give a bonus 10 just for the packaging of the whole thing.
Yeah. I seem to remember at least the Walmart here in Greenville had a whole section. I mean, they cleared out a whole big section. It was just filled with all sorts of Kiss merch and T-shirts and stuff. They had the potato heads at that point, which was at the time like, but yeah, no, I fondly remember that when Sonic Boom took over Walmart.
Yeah, those were the days, right?
Right, that was right before I started working there too. So
Yeah.
Walmart wasn't a place of horror.
Thankfully, you can still find some Kiss stuff in Walmart. They still, like you get those Walmart exclusive vinyl releases now and there's been Kiss ones lately, and they become kind of collectible right away because people want them. a different color variation vinyl, so people are out buying them up. And
Yeah,
so thankfully, there's still a little bit of Kiss presence here and there when it comes to stuff like that and other items that they'll sell.
definitely. So I gave this an 8. People talk a lot of crap about this album, but I've always liked it. I have a weird proclivity for when I get super into a band and they put out something new. Uh, I usually hate it. I don't know
Mm,
what it is. I hope that it's not a subconscious thing on my part.
yeah,
This was not that way. I liked this album from the moment we put it in. Now I totally agree. It doesn't stand on the same level as the original lineup early albums. I'll even admit, for me personally, it doesn't stand up to my favorite 80s albums either. But beyond that, I think this is a very solid addition to the discography and one that's really appropriate for the current lineup. Especially in that time period, they were playing a lot of the early music that they hadn't played in years, so it made sense for them to make an album more in that vein. I love how focused this album is. I talked a couple episodes ago about how I feel like Psycho Circus is just freaking all over the place. It can't decide what it wants to be, and people had said that about their albums for years prior to that, even. This
right.
album doesn't feel like that at all. It feels researched, a conscious effort to move back towards the sound and songwriting style that people loved about the early music, but also modernized just enough so that it doesn't feel like they were just copying it. It stands out from that. You can tell this is from this era, even though it sounds like the earlier stuff. Now, this isn't like my favorite production on a Kiss album. Me personally, I love the huge reverby bombast stuff like what they did in the '80s, and even Psycho Circus was like that. And this is just dry, straightforward, but it works towards one of my favorite aspects of this album. That production does. It sounds like the band went into the studio, wrote some cool songs together, and recorded them. Just
Hmm.
that. Simple, uncomplicated. It doesn't try to be anything other than what it is: drums, bass, couple of guitars, and four dudes singing. You know,
Yeah.
in fact, I love how you can specifically hear the four guys' voices in the harmonies, even when it's not their song. You can hear that's something that's been missing from Kiss music since like Love Gun. So having said that, all of that, just a few nitpicky complaints. Sometimes it feels a bit brick walled. It gets old on the ears. Just the general production. Maybe the master could have had a bit less mids. That's just my personal thing. Sometimes the instruments get kind of buried in the vocals. I think Robbie talked a little bit about that in the comment I read. The drums tend to get buried, especially.
Yes.
Again, it just seems like a lot of the same frequencies not able to get around each other. And Jesus, what is with the auto tune? And it's all over that Chikara, the second disc or whatever, too.
Oh
It's
Lord.
it's out of control on that. On the album, not so bad, but still, I know the guys were already getting up there in age, but I just can't get behind the idea that they needed so much tuning that it became obvious to people who know what it sounds like. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's. I even hear it on Eric Singer's voice on "All for the Glory," and that bothers me. I'm like, I
Mm.
don't think he needed. So all in all, yeah, I'm really glad to have this album. The songs are all good, catchy. I personally think they succeeded in making a modern Kiss album that was more in the vein of the early work. They could have easily gotten away with playing all their hits instead of making the effort of writing and recording and marketing new material. Because, like we were talking about, they put a lot of effort into marketing this, especially when they knew a fair portion of the fan base was upset about Tommy and Eric and the makeup thing. The obvious callbacks in the songwriting, in some cases play style Tommy, to the early days in the original lineup were bound to upset some people. They did it anyway because they wanted to make new music and they wanted to give the fans that wanted new music that, regardless of the drama. And dang it, if that's not the most Kiss thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely. Yeah. They they never catered to this sound or that sound. And I like what you mentioned because it totally reminded me of like, well, basically around the time that Psycho Circus came out, from that point on, we were in this big area of like bands that were putting and what pops to my head is like Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and even like Rolling Stones and ACDC for that matter. And there
Yeah.
was a lot of bands like that that were still putting out new albums around that whole time period. And to me it's like it just felt like they shouldn't have, like it almost ruined their legacy in my opinion. because it was just like the songs didn't sound anything near like what the early stuff did, and that stuff that made them, the legends that they became. And and it just like it always left a bad taste in my mouth hearing that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of those bands and other ones were doing it all through from the time Psycho Circus came out and pretty much up till Sonic Boom, for that matter.
Yeah.
And it's probably still happening today in some cases, but it's like, oh, and there's Bon Jovi and Aerosmith, for example. Yeah, they caught a little bit of luck there with a few of those songs that came out in those years, but it still wasn't the kind of stuff that I liked when I was growing up, is that Bon Jovi sounded like, or Aerosmith, or a lot of them bands. And it's like,
Yeah.
I was always so afraid that Kiss was going to fall into that same category, and that's what always made me so happy with Psycho Circus and now even Sonic Boom, that thank God they didn't. They still had it, like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, maybe it's not exactly the standards of the '70s stuff, but still they were still writing quality music,
Right.
stuff that was still like we were using the word classics, already. So that was still happening. So I mean, it, just thank God is all I got to say, because like I said, there was there was such a rash of bands that were just like past their prime and just kept trying to ride that, and I felt like they would have been better off by just performing and playing all the classics,
Yeah.
not putting out new material, and it kind of starts ruining the legacies of some of these bands. But again, that's my opinion. Other people may not agree, because some people might be huge fans of those bands and think that stuff was great. That's to each his own, but that's just how I always felt about it. And it was just kind of like, like I wish this, because even like Bon Jovi, like when you would watch them play live, like in the '90s or early 2000s, and they would do songs like "Living on a Prayer," but they would just totally destroy the song,
Ugh.
and it didn't sound a thing like it used to sound. And I'm like, what? Why do bands do this? Like, what is the deal? Like, you're just ruining the song at this point. Like, stop playing it. Like, that kind of stuff too was always getting to me and irking me. And again, thank God with Kiss, they never changed the songs like that drastically, and they kept them true, man. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And still setting trends too. I
yeah,
remember, was it Black Ice AC/DC put out right around the same time, and they tried to do the same thing. It was a Walmart exclusive,
yeah.
and they tried to like have a whole section of the store that was all stuff. And I mean, the album went over well, I seem to recall, but nobody cared. It's AC/DC. Kiss had that whole image, and like there's nothing like that interesting about AC/DC, you know?
And they and again, they kind of struck a little gold with a song or two on there. I think they had a song called "War Machine." How ironic.
Yeah.
"Spoiling for a Fight," I think, was the other kind of big hit. But other than that, I mean, and then even before that, they had that album "Stiff Upper Lip" that was like '99, something like that. And again, they kind of had small success with the song "Stiff Upper Lip," and then the song "Safe in New York City." But again, other than those couple songs, the whole albums themselves, and even the new AC/DC that came out like a year ago, I bought it because I'm like, okay, this sounds like they did finally go back to more of that classic sound. And I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't. I didn't mind the album, but I can't tell you any songs that are on there. Nothing stuck out to me, and I've only listened to the album once. I've never listened to anything off of it since. And like I say, it's not like I was disappointed as I was listening, but it was just one of them things where again, nothing caught me, and I got to listen to that again, or this is gonna be just as good as Dirty Deeds Done Dirt, stuff like that. No, but oh well.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess now let's see what have we got going on here. All right, so thankfully we got a couple true confessions from you guys, so we'll get into our true confessions, and then get into the final rankings here. So be back in just a second.
No, we're backwards.
Ah,
No, put it back.
why does that always happen? I'll start off here with our lovely chat room. So we have a true confession here from Carolina Hard Rock, Scott. He says, I can't believe we waited 11 years for this. It has the vibe of recording Dress to Kill. The field they rushed into the studio and just crapped it out. But Dress to Kill is a masterpiece. He said, I don't like to sound hypocritical, but the album I did like a lot better when it came out. It just has not aged good for me. But compared to Monster, it's a masterpiece. I understand. David Smith, true confession here. He didn't dig the album cover or Modern Day Delilah, but they also grew on him as well. Oh, we got another David Smith confession here. Modern Day as a show opener. Thought it would be great, just like Psycho Circus. Yeah, I liked Modern Day Delilah opening. The only time I liked Psycho Circus as an opener was when they had enough time to get to the mic quicker.
Yeah.
Because I hated when they just would open with it and they just kept, looping that riff before they finally got to the hello. It's like, to me, that didn't work, and I found it kind of annoying, and I'd much rather have, Detroit or Deuce or whatever instead of that. But like on the tour of Psycho Circus, when they pretty much were able to just run right out to the mic and started on time, yeah, that was cool. But,
yep.
My opinion here. And to kind of tie in here what we were talking about before the True Confession, Scott said that he feels that I am right about Bon Jovi. He saw them in 2007. He would never set foot where they were playing again. It was that bad. That sucks. That sucks, man. When you feel like you're not getting your money's worth, and I never got to see them live because, of course, back when they were doing the good stuff, I was still too young to go to concerts. And I got to be honest, if I had the chance now, I probably would pass too, because I just know it wouldn't sound good,
right?
Based on what I had seen on TV and everything. So anyway, go ahead with yours.
All right. I came to a confession, luckily, that I was happy with. I had a little bit of trouble thinking of one that I hadn't already talked about. I think I wouldn't have any problem calling this album the most focused and intentional a Kiss record has sounded since Creatures of the Night. Not saying it's better than any of those albums. For me personally, you guys know me, I love the 80s albums, and I would put any 80s album over this one. But the most intentional sounding. I appreciate how Paul insisted they break the mold that they had gotten into over the last decade. No outside writers, no ghost musicians, no beating around the bush. They studied what made their earlier songs great and made a serious attempt at picking up where they left off before the egos and the success got in the way. So I guess what my true confession is, this is what Psycho Circus should have been.
Okay. Taking shots.
Yeah. I love Psycho Circus. The
production. No, I get it.
The original four should have gone into the studio like they did for Sonic Boom.
Yeah, this album is what they told us Psycho Circus was going to be, essentially. I 100% agree with that, man. Forget about people that don't like Tommy or Eric. When it comes down to it, we were lied to, and this is the album that was what Psycho Circus was supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I'm in the same boat because I feel like I blabbed too much about when I was talking in my ranking.
Right.
Because I was gonna lean towards the Tommy stuff, but I'll just say again, props to Tommy for this album. I felt like he really, really, really. I'm not gonna say he carried the album, but damn, he brought it. I mean, he's nailing all that stuff, throwing in those little nods to Ace in the past and stuff there. Um, and we know that he had had his hand in some things prior to this too. Now that we know with some of these songs and whatnot. So I mean, I've said it before. I couldn't think of a better replacement for Ace than Tommy. And again, I love Ace, and I'm not one of these guys that are going to bash him. But if I had my choice, I would definitely say Tommy over Ace right now. Um, he's got the work ethic. He's brought everything to the band that they need. Um, you know, helping them bring out some of these deep cuts that we've all been wanting to hear, and they've been doing it. And I'm sure we'd be hearing a lot more if Paul and Gene weren't a little stubborn about it. But especially on this final tour, I'm sure Tommy and Eric are probably thinking we need to be playing 2 sets worth of deep cuts, but Gene
Right.
and Paul wants it to be their way. So, but
Yeah.
I'm getting off subject a little, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I regret missing this tour. From what I've seen on videos, yeah, great. Other than yes, the unfortunate Paul voice thing that got worse by the end of it. But as far as the look, their costumes did change a little bit for this, which again they should have done with Psycho Circus.
Yep.
New album, newer costumes. They looked a lot better, in my opinion, than what they looked like on that Alive 4 show.
Yes.
Especially Tommy again. He didn't quite look right wearing that Alive costume, in my opinion. But yeah, great show, great opener with Modern Day Delilah. That whole lit platform that they rose on and went over Eric's head there. Again, if you guys haven't seen that up close on that video, look it up, please. It's great. I wish they would have kept that like to this day. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
it's that cool. Yeah, so I think that kind of sums it up. I mean, like I said, I was already saying this album has definitely grown on me now since the last time we did it. So I think that says a lot too. And I was always basically since day one of this podcast when the subject came up, I was always saying that I pretty much chose Monster over Sonic Boom because I felt like it was more of a better listen. Well, here I am today saying that I think that has finally changed. So, again, we'll find out for sure next week, but I really feel like that's gonna stick. So that's that.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, I think I got some rankings here.
All right.
We can.
And thank you guys for knocking out that tie because we had a tie earlier. And thanks to you guys just right there in the chat. See, that's how much it helps. Bam,
Yeah.
the tie's gone. So thank you guys so much. And then Steve and Rochelle for sending your picks in as well.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So you guys have seen the two of us talk about this. In the chat right now, we've got Ronnie Parker, David Smith, and Carolina Hard Rock. David and Scott, Carolina, gave us stuff. So Dave's top three were Dangerous, Modern Day Delilah, and Never Enough. Was there an overall? I don't remember on that one.
Oh, that's
I might have missed.
Let me look here.
I don't think there was.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dave, if you can give us an overall ranking real quick, man, for the album, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. We've also got Scott in here. His top three were Russian Roulette, I'm an Animal, and Modern Day Delilah. He gave this album a 3 out of 10 overall. We also have votes from Robbie Stars, who gave us votes in the comments of the last episode. His top three were I'm an Animal, Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect, and Russian Roulette. He gave the album an 8 out of 10. Also have votes from Steve McGowan, who gave the album a 5 out of 10. His top three were Say Yeah, Modern Day Delilah, and Never Enough. Rochelle McGowan gave this album a 7 out of 10, and her top three Stand, All for the Glory, and Say Yeah. Now we move into stuff that we had last time when we did this album. So my vote last time, I gave this album a 7 out of 10, and my top 3 were Say Yeah, Modern Day Delilah, and Dangerous. Eli, last time you gave this a 5 out of 10, and your top 3 were Russian Roulette, Hot and Cold, and Modern Day Delilah.
Jesus.
Right? My dad last time ranked this 6 out of 10. His top 3, Yes, I Know Nobody's Perfect, Say Yeah, and Modern Day Delilah. Steve McGowan last time gave this 6 out of 10. His top 3 were All for the Glory, Never Enough, and Modern Day Delilah. Rochelle McGowan last time, 7 out of 10. Her top 3, All for the Glory, Stand, and Never Enough. Jay Rucker last time gave this album a perfect 10. Props to Jay there. His top 3, When Lightning Strikes, I'm an Animal, and Say Yeah. Robbie Stars last time gave this 7 out of 10. His top 3, Hot and Cold, Russian Roulette, and Stand. Jay Rucker's dad, gave this a 9 out of 10. Rain in Adamstown also gave this album a 9 out of 10. Top 3, Russian Roulette, Modern Day Delilah, and Say Yeah. Brad Holderman gave this album an 8 out of 10. Oh, and David Smith also gave it a 9.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes. All right, so putting all that together, we come up with some pretty cool rankings. This album did get a 7.2 out of 10 average overall. That's pretty high for this album. It's a good comparison to the earlier albums, and even better than a lot of the 80s albums.
Right? Yeah, I gotta say, I wasn't really expecting that, so I'm glad to hear that this time around.
Yes, definitely. In 11th place this time, dead last. Yes, I Know Nobody's Perfect.
Good.
Yes, agreed. In 10th place, Hot and Cold.
Guess what, Gene? You weren't perfect.
Yes. It's too bad Say Yeah isn't a horrible song, because in a way I wish it were, so that we could make the joke say nah. But it just doesn't apply. In 9th place, Dangerous. In 8th place, When Lightning Strikes. In 7th place, kind of surprisingly, I'm an Animal.
No.
Yeah. 6th place, Russian Roulette. In 5th place, Never Enough. And our top 4 for this album, maybe the big surprise, at least for me, in 4th place, All for the Glory. Pretty cool to see Eric Singer break the top 4 there.
Yeah.
And then the other 3, not really that surprising. In 3rd place, Stand. In 2nd place, Say Yeah. And in 1st place, Modern Day Delilah.
Figures.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I guarantee if everyone goes and watches that I'm an Animal video, you guys will change your opinion and want to rank that higher if you haven't seen it.
Yes. Definitely a good video.
I'm going to watch it after we're done. Lost your audio. Audio man.
No.
Yeah, it worked.
See? Every time. Every time. How does it know?
All right. Well, that wraps up Sonic Boom. So be sure to join us next week for Monster. And we'll also be giving you a bit of a preview of what's to come, since Monster is technically the end of the discography, but it is not the end of the rankings. So you'll understand more next week if you don't remember from the past, and then we'll update you on some other plans that we have down the road and what's to come. So thanks to all you guys as always for the chat. You guys were definitely a big help today. You knocked out that tie. We hate having the ties, and thanks for taking care of it right away. We didn't have to wait another week or anything. So very cool. And please get over there and vote on our polls on the page, because they're definitely getting tougher. This week says a lot. And again, please spread the word. Your friends and family on Facebook that are KISS fans, please let them know. Direct them to our group, and as many votes as we can get, we want them in there. So
absolutely, like you said, our polls are getting harder, and you definitely want to go look at our polls on Facebook.
Did I say that?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even realize it.
So, that's why they're in a private group. So go check out our extremely hard polls.
Yeah, we may start an OnlyFans, so that's kind of in the works. But
Yes.
so I'm sure we'll get a lot of business on that. All right, guys. I think that wraps it up. Nothing else going on. So everyone take care and get those masks off. Get vaccinated if you haven't, and blah blah blah. So again, see y'all next week for Monster, and